Is it a great time right now for buyers in Halifax, to be purchasing their home, or should they wait? So let's talk about this, Jason. What are your thoughts of people buying in Halifax right now? Is it a good time? Tariffs, Trump?
Halifax, in my opinion, has always been like a city that it's never gone down in price, right?
No.
If you got to go ahead and you're under duress and you have to sell for some reason in, the first 5 years of a purchase, it might not go the best way for you. But typically, you're always going to be in the up and up in Halifax.
Yeah.
Cheapest real estate in Canada is in Moncton, New Brunswick. Out in Alberta is just rebounded as well. So Halifax, I'd say, is probably the third best spot in the country to buy real estate at the moment.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty affordable here. So, talk to me about buyer expectations. What are you saying to your buyers when, okay, we're going to go look at this house. It's $500,000. What are you saying to your buyer?
Tough question without context.
House is dated, single family home, dated property.
I always tell my buyers we're looking to the seller's looking to get the best profit for them and the best terms for them, and we're looking to do the same. So when I talk to a seller or a buyer, I like to use the F word. We got to be fair. We got to think about what they're going to need and what we're going to need. And in the end, if everybody's fair, that's what a real estate agent does. We don't do paperwork. We don't sell houses. We get the deal closed. So it's got to be a fair deal. It's got to make sense. Mm-hmm. If you go ahead and go off the rails and it doesn't make sense, likely that deal is not going to happen because somebody else is going to have somebody that's going to act fair and make sense. It's kind of a general thinking, but I mean, yeah. I use the F word all the time.
So let me be more specific. So I just listed a property, $499.
Yep.
Fully dated. Other houses on the street are selling close to $700. I'm getting offers of $440, $430, $450, and I'm like, what? I was shocked to see within days of listing that I was getting such lowball offers. So I said to the client, I said, well, there's one of two things happening. One, buyer expectation, right? Two, the buyer agent is not setting their client up for success for when they're going out to looking at homes. So, in terms of being that specific, if you have a $300,000 property, semi, or you have a $500,000 house, what are you saying to your buyer at that point?
Likely we're going to have to pay over. If you have comps at $200,000 worth of work to a property will get you a pretty nice house.
Absolutely.
Usually full gut job. So in the end, it's probably priced very well. Mm-hmm. You have buyers that are dreamers, and real estate agents sometimes will allow them to dream and say, sure, I'll write down 440. Sure, I'll write down 430. We've never done a deal, but I'm assuming that you're not that type of person to call you on a Friday and say, I'm really not going to write that up for you. It doesn't make sense. It's not going to come together. I think you use candor as caring, and so do I. Yeah. Is that I'm going to tell you how it is, and then I think the people that work with you and people that work with me respect us for the way we handle business because we tell it right from the truth. There's no there's no puff.
What are your thoughts of obviously the days on market is increasing. I think it was in February we were at 40 days on market. Sometimes we could be at 58, and every pocket of Halifax is different.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts of a buyer writing a condition sale of their own property?
So 7 years ago is when I got into it, and an SOBP was at that point not even really heard of. Yeah. You go buy any house you want, and you will sell the property that you're in a week. Now you see it all the time. I'm writing them all the time. It's not a guarantee, and we don't know what the pricing, the way that the interest rates are going down, the way that even the U.S. does dictate a lot of this stuff. People get a little scared sometimes when the up and downs, and we're going to do this, we're not going to do that. So it's not a guarantee that 41 days, the 58 days. I just sold a house in 7 days. There's no rhyme or reason. It's definitely waking back up. There's a lot more confidence out there, but I tell everybody, you got to write the SOBP. You don't want to be held hope like both properties.
Yeah.
Because nobody can predict the future. We don't know.
I don't see the inventory going bananas. And even, so do you think new construction is going to slow down because of the tariffs?
I just heard, now I won't say the builder and I won't confirm, but somebody just told me the other day that they just put the escalation clause back in.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to talk about who or whatever,
no,
but
no.
I mean, that tells me that they're very uneasy of, we're not going to pay any extra for your lumber and your basically your light fixtures and your plumbing fixtures. A lot of these come from the States. So if we're paying extra, if they're paying extra, we're paying extra.
So, I mean, I know, so the escalation clause that we had during COVID,
Mm-hmm.
if the house was, when you wrote the contract at 600,000, and if it took you, 8 to 11 months to build a house,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the, trusses, I know, went up, like everything was going up, drywall, and then even the rates to pay the workers were going up. But, that is a scarcity. That is a fear for buyers and, for builders as well, right? That the prices will go up and you don't want to be caught in that trap.
Yeah.
Do you think there will be a standstill on new construction because of that?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say because we don't know what's happening across the border. But if I had a buyer to buy new construction now and the escalation clause was there, I would probably put a cap on it.
Okay.
I'd probably say up to a certain amount and write that down, because it's really hard to say that everything goes over to the buyer, based on the fact that we don't know what's going to happen with your light fixtures, your plumbing fixtures, and your flooring that comes from wherever.
Yep.
So I might put a cap on it and see if they would agree to that.
Okay. What type of cap would you put on? Like what amount?
Jeez, on the spot.
Because it's open. It's open, right?
Yeah.
That escalation clause in.
Hey, you know what? I'd probably talk to my mortgage broker and be like, can I pay an extra $25K for this house? And if they say you could, well, then if they say 50 is too much, banks got to approve it too, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
the house that they approved before, if it goes up 50 grand, are they going to approve it again? So these are the things that I would worry about or tell buyers that we have to be conscious of. Yeah.
So what would you say to the, so that's the new construction buyer. What would you say to a resale buyer coming in right now? What advice would you give them?
A resale buyer to
Purchase.
hold and keep?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say that, even though inventory is low, we don't need to panic. We don't need to go ahead and fly off the rails and just buy whatever you want. I would buy something and plan to be 5 to 10 years in that home. It might also be forever. It depends, right? Where they are at. If they're brand new and they don't know how many kids they're going to have, then can we adapt the home that you're currently in, or are you going to have to move up and move on? So it's probably extra questions that you don't normally would ask somebody about those personal questions, but it is a life plan. So big purchase.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I see buyers now, like, especially with the feedback I'm getting about, oh, we just started.
Yeah.
We just started looking. And I remember talking to one agent at a point in time. She showed her buyer 20 homes.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we were doing, like, 2017 days.
Yeah.
When, the military were coming in, like, I would have a list, 20 homes.
Yeah.
And, we're gone back to that, because if it's not the perfect fit,
Yeah.
they're just going to keep looking. And there is no sense of urgency here from local buyers. What advice would you give to a buyer right now?
What advice? You got to be prepared. So it's pretty basic, but like, get the mortgage broker, get your credit card ready. We don't go shopping without a credit card. So make sure that you are very comfortable with that. The payments are going to be X at your top of your purchase. If you're comfortable with that, when you go find the house that you want and you write down the number that makes sense and it's in your wheelhouse, they're going to be very comfortable. Buyer confidence is going to be high that moving forward, unless we find something really big, that house is going to be a done deal. I would also say, get lined up that I'd probably say we have to consider, like, what's going to make sense for closing, what's going to make sense for price. Also, is there anybody else making a deciding factor on that? Could it be their parents? Could it be a brother that they love their opinion on and stuff like that? Well, you better line them up so that we can all get this done. Because again, that house, as you do with the inventory, it's not coming up every single day. So
No,
if you
goodness.
find it, jump on it, but be ready.
my next question is, where do you see our market come this fall?
I think we're going to have a very strong year. Unfortunately, my summer is probably going to be busier than I want it to be. Talking to some colleagues at work as well, they're picking up. You go on vacation. I know a few of us agents are down in Florida right now doing their stuff with their family. I just got back and I picked up 3 buyers while I was down there, right? You don't want to answer the phone, but you answer when you have to. I think it's going to be a very busy year, and regardless of what happens across the border. And, people just got to stay focused and go for it.
On average, since 2016, there have been only 4,400 homes sold each year, single family. That's all I ever look at. And I'm not talking about COVID years because they were COVID crazy. But do you think there'll be more than 4,400 homes sold this year?
No. I don't think the inventory is going to be there to do it.
Okay.
New construction, it's not like there's tons of subdivisions planned, but they haven't started them. Every house is still 8 to 9 months out. I can't see I don't think we're going to have the inventory to sell that many.
But you said you think we're going to be busy. So just regular busy or overly busy? That's
subjective.
True.
Right? Mm-hmm. Somebody said I should join their team and do really, really well. But see, everybody has their own little, that was you. Everybody has their own value of how busy you want it to be, right? Yes. So I set my own goals, but I also have a cap. It keeps me happy, keeps my kids happy, and keeps me married. So to me, I think it's going to be a pretty busy year.
Okay.
In my standard. It may be different for others.
Yeah, I just think we're going to be a regular year. I don't see, it's so funny because I remember talking to Matt in January, who I'll be interviewing today as well, and he thought it was going to be boom. And I just don't see it.
No?
Because it's
he sees all the contracts, but.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and I just don't see it. I don't see it being crazy. I really don't. I just think it's going to be normal.
The prices aren't coming down.
No.
They never did.
No,
even last year with the high interest rates, the sellers still wanted their payout. So that really contributed to the fact that we might have 10 houses on the market per day, but you also might have 15 price changes. So when the price changes outweigh the new houses, that's not a good sign. Tells you people are overpricing a lot.
Do you know that I did this stat before you came? Again, because we talked about the de-transfer tax, what's been happening, in the news and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So in all of Nova Scotia last year, single family homes, there were 12,882 homes listed, 9,000 of them sold, 9,074 sold. So that's 70% of the inventory is selling. Out of the 70% of inventory selling, 65% of those homes are selling under asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's different times for sure than what we would have had during COVID. And I don't believe that the government is in touch with actually what is really happening in the trenches. And
I know you like that stat, not to go the other side of things, but I mean, some people are agreeing to prices that don't make sense because sellers still want their 2022 price. And some of them are going at that 2022 game of way under, right?
Yeah.
You list a house in Timberley, which is a starter community, for $400,000, and a house in Timberley hasn't sold at $400,000 flat in years. So starting point doesn't make sense to me. But again, my strategy and with my clients is typically around 97%, and that 3% buffer is typically where I like to be. But that's just for me. If they wanted to go ahead and have a fire sale, I guess I just listen. But
yeah.
No,
I think the smart thing for any seller to do in our market right now is to price at market value. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what we want or what a seller wants. Mm-hmm. It's what someone is willing to pay for that property for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, you didn't get lost coming here, did you?
No.
I always got to ask those questions, we're right out in the back of the woods here.
It is a little far back, but the GPS got me here.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, thank you so much for coming today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great.